Hey everybody, it's Nike here. I wanted to do an update on my warrior build because it's changed quite a bit since the last time I did my PvP build. Past couple weeks, I've gone really hard. I've been trying to get my rank 60 so I could have the shark emote, and I got that. And I just wanted to share the build as it's evolved over playing a lot of tournament games. So it's still a axe sword longbow build. We will use the Celestial Amulet because it's got a broken amount of ferocity compared to the Berserker Amulet. But the new change here is Strength Runes. I was using Hull Brick, but I came to the conclusion that the condition duration isn't super important, and the extra 20% might duration and the 5% damage actually makes a very noticeable difference in terms of how much you hit for. So I have been going with the strength. If you find that you need the whole brick, you can still use that, but I really think the 20% condition duration reduction you don't notice as much. So I definitely recommend Runa of Strength. For the sigils, I'm using Sigil of Intelligence on the axe so that your Eviscerate always crits when you swap to axe, and Sigil of Battle on the axe so you get 3 stacks of might when you swap to the axe set, so you'll always be at your max might. This build does utilize fast hands in the traits, so you will be building up on average with the strength runes about 9 stacks of might just from the battle sigil alone in prolonged fights. On the longbow, Sigil of Geomancy, it inflicts bleeding AoE. I think it's like a 400 range, maybe a little bit less, 300 for 10 seconds to anyone around it. That's really good. It adds 3 stacks of bleeds. Condition pressure is part of what this build's about, thanks to the Celestial Amulet. So the Geomancy is pretty good. Geomancy is especially good with Sigil of Doom, which is the other sigil I use. This is how you definitely need Sigil of Doom for the poison. Not only does it add condi pressure, but it really helps you beat other warriors if you are consistently keeping them poisoned. And in this build, you'll find that you are able to keep them pretty consistently poisoned thanks to fast hands letting you switch. And when you have Geomancy, which hits for about 900 when you swap, and Doom, they'll proc each other. So when the Geomancy hits, it inflicts the poison. So oftentimes I will swap to my longbow. It procs the bleed, the poison, and I'll do a Fan of Fire. So in a very short amount of time, someone will take pretty decent damage from the Fan of Fire, pretty decent damage from the Geomancy rune, and they'll have burning, bleeding, and poison pretty hard stacked on them. If they have cleanses, they're going to use them at that point. That's when you follow up with the pin down, and they should be in good shape to allow you at that point to swap to your back to your axe set and then get the big Eviscerate off. So that's generally why the thought behind these sigils. These 2 sigils will keep up the condi pressure, and these 2 sigils are basically built to have sick might stacking and Eviscerates. As far as traits, these haven't changed too much. I use 2 in strength for dual wielding, extra 5% damage and 100 power. Can't beat that. In defense, we take sure-footed for stance duration, cleansing ire for condi removal, and defy pain for the double endure, which will help you beat people in 1v1, and especially in situations where you mess up and you get it does bail you out, and there's situations where you are just generally getting outplayed by someone, and this can save you, and that's oftentimes the difference between victory or death. Then in discipline, I take Signet Mastery. You could take Warrior Sprint here if you're doing like an organized group, like Team Q or even Solo Q. You want to switch your Elite to Battle Standard and change that to Warrior Sprint. That's definitely a viable choice. But for most part, for hot joins and for solo queues, I tend to go with Signet of Rage. It goes really well with the strength runes, and I just appreciate having the on-demand swiftness, and the Fury is not too bad either. And then I could go with Destruction of the Empowered. This will help you land really big Eviscerates. And in the strength rune meta, everyone's got boons. So you're pretty much for sure always to get at least some damage out of that. And then Burst Mastery. will make your general and skills cost less and do more damage for the even bigger eviscerates. Just some synergies to be aware of. You have versatile power, so you get might on a weapon swap, and you have fast hands. Generally, the way the build plays, you want to be swapping on cooldown. Every 5 seconds swap. So when you swap to longbow, you want to proc your geomancy and your doom, obviously. Fan of flame, pin down, drop your fire field, and then arcing arrow into it for might. When you swap back, you're going to want to eviscerate. And then you have the choice. You can probably Cyclone Axe. You can throw Axe if they're trying to kite you. Impale is always very good. You want to keep the Impale for max torment damage. And then obviously with Riposte, you have the on-demand block that will inflict some more bleeds. And basically your skills 3 and 5 are your sort of utility skills in the set. And then back to longbow, and just keep repeating that, and eventually you'll wear down any opponent, especially if your eviscerates are landing. Quite often you can see people's playstyle change. They will be trying to go toe-to-toe with you. They think the condition pressure isn't that bad. Then you'll swap to your axe, eviscerate them for about 7k, and all of a sudden they're at 2,000 health and they have no heal because they've used it on your condition pressure, and you'll notice that they now start running away. When they start running away, that's when you want to impale, it's when you want to throw axe, and you know that when someone turns their back to you and is ready to go, that you have them under pressure, and you can take advantage of that, and they're going to die pretty soon. So that's the build. That's the update I wanted to make to it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Just wanted to make sure everyone's on the same page with the changes that I've made since the last video. Thanks again, guys, and I will talk to you soon.